Good morning, children. Yesterday we did the part 1 of the chapter The Enemy, chapter number 4 from Vistas. Today I am going to extend the reading, right? We dropped at page number 25 and we had read that as a child, Dr. Sadao used to climb the trees. He used to move here, there, and enjoy his life. His father often took him to different islands of Japan, and he was very much concerned about his studies. So he sent him to USA for the study of medical sciences. And further, after 8 years of stay there in USA, when he came back, he was a successful surgeon and a great scientist also. So this particular points we had read, and now the story begins. Stories came to a point when Sadao was standing in his veranda, and he was seeing the fog arising out of sea and coming towards his house, covering his house. So here, at this particular point, we had dropped our reading yesterday. This point, okay? So, dear children, we had read this paragraph. We are to read paragraph number 3 from this paragraph. Okay, let's start. But at this moment, the door opened and she looked out. Who is she here? She is his wife, Hana. A dark blue woolen haori over her kimono. She was wearing kimono. And over her kimono, there was haori. And what is this haori? Haori here stand for you can say the wearing. Often it is a night suit which often women wear like this. Let me tell you, this is haori. Let me make it clear. This is kimono. This wearing is called kimono, and this is haori. Haori. This is night dress, a loose outer garment worn over kimono, right? So over her kimono, she came to him affectionately and put her arm through his as he stood there. Means out of love, she came very close to her husband to express her love for him. At the back, from the back, she touched him rather, right? As he stood and smiled and said nothing. He had met Hana. Now let's go back into the past of their life. He had met Hana in America, but he had waited to fall in love with her until he was sure she was Japanese. Oh God, condition in love it was. First he was to make sure that she was Japanese. Why? Because his father would never have received her unless she had been pure in her race. In her race, in her community. She had to be, means his father had already said that he would be married only with a Japanese girl. So that was there. It was love at first sight case, but naturally the girl had to be Japanese. He wondered often, let us study further. He wondered often whom he would have married if he had not met Hana, and by what luck he had found her in the most casual way, by chance literally, at an American professor's house where he was living. By chance, he met Hana in USA during his study period. The professor and his wife had been kind people, anxious to do something for their few foreign students. And the students, though bored, had accepted this kindness. They used to get bored in the company of the professor and his wife, but what could they have done? They were getting free education there, or education at a very low cost. A professor was always ready to help them. Sadao had often told Hannah how nearly he had not gone to Professor Harley's house that night. Which night? That night. The night the night he had to meet Hannah there. The night he had to meet Hannah, he was not going to Professor's house that night, but by chance, because it is often said that pairs are made in heaven, है ना? So they had to meet. The destiny took Dr. Sadao there to Professor's house, and there he met Hannah. The rooms, why he didn't like, because the rooms, now please turn over the page number 26, were so small, the food so bad. It was not a good PG, you understand? Yes, paying guest. The professor's wife so voluble means, voluble here stand for what do you mean by voluble? As the sound suggests, this voluble means talkative. She was very much talkative, not in a simple voice, oh, very loud voice. Talkative, talkative. Now, but he had gone, and there he had found Hannah, a new student, and had felt he would love her if it were at all possible. At all possible? What does it mean? It means that if she had been a Japanese, certainly he would like her, and he would love her. Because the physical features, especially the facial expressions of these South Asian people, they are alike. You will find Japanese, Koreans, Malaysians, right, Singaporeans, all their faces are almost alike, right? So first he wanted to make sure that she was Japanese, and then only the love could be possible. Now he felt, now come to present, where the veranda where he was standing, and Hannah held his hand very softly from the back. Now he felt her hand on his arm and was aware. Here we are to start from. Now he felt her hand on his arm, and was aware of the pleasure it gave him. Even though they had been married years enough to have 2 children, means they still loved each other. They still loved each other even after having 2 children, even, for they had not married heedlessly. What do you mean by this word heedlessly? Heedlessly here stands for without any prior assurance, without applying the mind. No. Married heedlessly in America. They had finished their work at school. Generally, people, when they fall in love, they forget their primary target. But no, it was not the case with Dr. Sadao. He felt completed his education. They had finished their work at school and had come home to Japan. And when his father had seen her, the marriage had been arranged in old Japanese manner. The marriage took place where? Not just like people often do. People often do, na? When they fall in love, okay, they just go to court, or they just go to temple, or they just do the marriage. No, it was not like that. They first came to Japan. Marriage was held in an old Japanese traditional manner, right? And although Sadao and Hannah they were perfectly happy. She laid her cheek against his arm. Now, next paragraph we come to here. Okay, it was at this moment that both of them saw something black come out of the mist. Mist was heading towards the home. Something black, a black, you can say impression they saw coming out of the mist from the seaside, as you have been seeing in the picture. This, yes, it was a man. He was flung up out of the ocean. Flung means thrown out, as though it seemed, to his feet by a breaker. Breaker here stand for, what do you mean by breaker here? Breaker here stand for wave. Wave. He staggered a few steps. What do you mean by this word staggered? Staggered means moved uneasily, right? Well, he moved uneasily few steps, his body outlined against the mist, his arms above his head, arms above his head. Then the curled mist hid him again. Curled mist, the surrounded mist, the mist that had surrounded his body, right? That had hid him again, concealed him. Hannah, oh, who's that? Hannah cried. Look, Sadao, who's that? She dropped Sadao's arm and they both leaned over the railing of the veranda. Leaned over, they just looked over. They just bent over the railing and saw something. Their house was at a great height, at a big height. Now they saw him again. The man was on his hands and knees, crawling. Crawling means he was just moving on knees and you can say elbows. Then they saw him fall on his face and lie there. Perhaps he was tired, must have fallen, but fallen on his face. Ah, a fisherman perhaps. Fisherman? Well, because why did he say that he could be a fisherman? Because there were many villages surrounded by their house. Their house was surrounded by several villages of houses of fishermen, right? So maybe a fisherman perhaps, Sadao said, washed away from his boat, means must have fallen from his boat. He ran quickly. He ran quickly down the steps, and behind him, Hannah came. They both started running towards the sea, to see who was there actually. Her wide sleeves fly. A mile or two away on either side there were fishing villages, I told you earlier, but here was only the bare and lonely coast. Bare and lonely coast it was. None was there, absolutely. None was there. This is what barely, absolute, none was there. Not a soul was there even. Dangerous with rocks. You know, there were so many sharp-edged rocks were there. Means if one falls over them, I would say these are the rocks. Okay, if one falls over there, if one comes outside, if one comes from the sea and by chance falls upon these rocks, oh my God, he could be injured very badly. Dangerous with rocks. The surf beyond the beach was spiked with rocks. Beyond the surf means a place in the sea where one can stand. You can say a sort of where wave strikes regularly. Such sort of rocks are there. They are spiked with. Spiked means sharp edged. Very sharp edged rocks were there. Somehow the man had managed to come through them. He must be badly torn, badly injured. Okay, he must be badly torn. Yes, here. Now, they saw when they came toward him, and that indeed it was so. The sand on one side of him had already a stain of red soaking through. Oh my God! When they reached him, they found that one side of his back that was releasing blood. Oh God, indeed it was so. The sand on one side of him had already a stain of red soaking. Some impression of red soaking was there. Red soaking means blood. He is wounded, Sadao exclaimed. Oh my God, he is wounded. He made haste of the he made haste to man, means he ran fast, who lay motionless, his face in the sand. His face in the sand. He was lying on the ground with his face in the sand. Oh, now next. An old cap stuck to his head, soaked with the sea water. He was in wet rags of garments. Sadao stopped Hana at his side and turned the man's head. Then when they turned the body, oh God, then they found what something very, very strange. What was that? They saw the face. Ah, a white man, Hana whispered. She spoke very slowly. Oh my God, he's a white man. Yes, it was a white man. The wet cap fell away, and there was his wet yellow hair, long, as though for many weeks it had not been cut, and upon his young and tortured face, he was very badly treated. Very badly. Well, some impressions of some scars were there, some you can say injuries were there on his face. It appeared that he was very badly tortured by someone. Face was a rough yellow beard. He was unconscious and knew nothing that they did for him. What they were doing, he didn't know. Okay, children, I am finishing this particular part, and let's move to the next one in the next group. Thank you.